First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
And hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Dibler. Thanks for joining us. We are live here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. And for those of you who watch this show all the time, thank you for doing so. For those who are joining for the first time, thank you for doing so. Thanks, everybody, for just being here and watching. And again, you can, if you're not watching us live, these segments are available across a lot of platforms. So whichever one you're on, whether it's YouTube, the Fox 12 Oregon app, KPTV.com, lots of places to go to and share the show. But on Thursdays, if you're a regular watcher, you know we are generally joined by this man right here, Eric Goranson, from around the house Northwest. And always good to have Eric on here and the advice that you give out. And this one is one that I think probably a lot of people, unfortunately, are going to be, I mean, fortunately that they're going to get the advice, but unfortunately they have the problem. I'm talking about summer pests. And is this like across the board, whether we're talking bugs or rats or
pretty
whatever?
much. No, it's all of it. And thanks for having me on again, my friend. This is always a good time. But you know something, I last year didn't follow my own advice. I was out there getting ready for one of my Around the House Northwest shoots, and I was out there one morning in late August with the post hole digger. Didn't notice that beautiful natural fern that was a couple feet away had a yellow jacket's nest in it. And yes, about 22 of them got me that day. So something that, that was brutal. That was brutal. And so it was a quick trip to the hospital and everything else. All good, but, you know, easily preventable with some great products out there. And, you know, as we get into barbecues and stuff like that, this is that time of year we start to kind of see them getting a little more aggressive, hanging out. And so the time to start setting the traps are now.
Yeah. So if you do start, so I guess where do we begin then with that? So do you start setting out the traps first?
Yeah. So here's what I do. I've got one right here. This is the Y. This is basically wasps, hornets, yellow jackets. It is one of those traps you just basically hang, and it hangs from the top. You fill it up, and it grabs all three of them. And won't hurt the bees, which is awesome. I love not hurting the bees. Those are our friends.
Yeah.
But if you want to take care of those, it comes with its own attractants inside. You fill the bottom part up, and it just basically it traps all the different kinds, and they work great with the ones we have here in the Pacific Northwest. So for me, this has always been a solid one, and it keeps them down. You know, you might get some that are traveling a little farther away, but if you've got a nest near your house, I have actually filled these up in about 36 hours. Because of so many of them when they're out of control. So they work really well. And then all you have to do is about every month or two, depending on how you're getting them in, you just buy the little refill packs. And you're good to go.
Nice.
And so you get them at your local home improvement store, grocery store, Amazon, home improvement, wherever. But that's the easy way to do it. And man, you just knock them down. And what I noticed is if you do that a couple years in a row, the next year they don't really come back. And so then all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is pretty easy. But then all of a sudden, you know, some will move into the neighborhood again and off you go again. So it's good this time of year. You know, as we get deeper into fall, they just keep getting more and more and more aggressive. And get now before they get too crazy on you.
Yeah, because you do not want to mess with that. And I like that it's, as you know, good for the bees, or it's not going to harm the bees, so they're not getting in. But hornets, who cares? As far as
and all those pests like that, they're the ones going after the beehives because they're in there going after them. So they're the ones who are stirring those up. So they're not even good for the bees anyway. And then if you have a big yellow jacket problem, they have an easy one. And this one, you don't have to really add much to except for water. And so all you have to do is basically, this is a throwaway. When you cut the top open, it pops up, fill it up with water to there and hang it with a zip tie outside someplace, out away from your barbecue. And they work really well.
Nice. So that's going to attract them in there. You can get rid of them. So perfect. So good for yellow jackets, hornets, and the other one, for the hornets and wasps as well. So nice.
Now, they do make one like this for flies, but I tell you what, it works good. But here's the problem. If you put that outside, I mean, I think it's great if you're on a farm or something like that or a ranch. It's really good, but it smells like death. And so it's not something you want to keep around the house. Your neighbors are going to go, what's going on over your house? I put them up. I'm like, it's trapping all the flies. Then I'm like, what's that? Oh,
what worse? Yeah.
That was tracking them. So maybe not for the faint of heart for those. Those are pretty brutal. It works if you've got a big fly problem. So, you know, around the barn, around the horses, around the cattle, it's going to work awesome. Yeah. But in a more suburban atmosphere, be kind to your neighbors.
All right, fair enough. So watch out what you're trading the flies for if you go for the other one then.
Exactly.
What other
You know,
kind of pests?
mice and rats are big this time of year. And here's the
Yeah.
problem. Most of the time, those are like either trash or careless bird feeding out there. It's those big bird feeders, and maybe the squirrels are getting in there and knocking the stuff out, and it gets down, or even worse, you have a neighbor that's just pouring bird seed out on their back patio. That's when you start getting the rats, and they'll take over the neighborhood pretty quickly. So, one, you got to be careful because you have this catch 22 with rats and stuff out there. Is that one, you want to get them trapped. That's probably the better way, because the poisons, my concern is I don't want the neighborhood cats, dogs, or birds that are coming down like our eagles and hawks going after these things and then eating that stuff up. So and I know a lot of people get really concerned about the traps, but maybe that's best left for the professionals. Let them trap them and get them out of there.
Yeah, absolutely. Get rid of the issue, because I've definitely dealt with that before too in the neighborhood, and it's not fun at all. Yeah.
And you get into suburban areas. Like when I was living up in the Tacoma area, we had some in the warehouse of this big cabin shop I worked at. And these were bigger than most people's cats. And they're those big wharf rats. And they were just kind of, you're like, oh, possum. No, rat. And so it really are not good. And they're just, they're messy. They're nasty. They're not great for your health to have that around your house. And so another thing you can do this time of year, and it's just getting ready for fall anyway, so you might as well do it. But you can go down to your hardware store, get some spray foam, and they make it that's pest control. So any of these pests out there, I think they're putting like hot peppers and stuff in that. So rats, mice, and even some of the wasps and burrowing insects won't go into that. And so you can't smell it, but you can spray it around all those openings, and they're not going to go digging through it. And so it's really great to seal up all those kind of cracks and holes around the house, maybe around where the air conditioning lines go in, or where the cable guy was hooking up your latest cable project. But those kind of things, get it sealed up, and then you won't be fighting it later on.
All right, good advice there. So you can go pick that up, like you mentioned, at the hardware store. Anything else that the people should be?
One other thing. It's a common misconception out there. People see these like really black bumblebees flying around. Sometimes they're not bumblebees. Sometimes those are carpenter bees, and they basically will go into wood, and it could be a deck cover, it could be your deck, it could be anywhere that wood gets wet, and they will burrow a perfectly good hole about the size of a marble, and it will go in there and start chewing away and build nests in there. So be careful. Those aren't those cute, bumblebees that you're thinking. Take a look online, take a look and see if that's it. But if it's mostly black, those are carpenter bees, and they're chewing things up. So you'll want to get a different trap for that.
Okay, that is good to know. So make sure that you're paying attention to what it is that's flying around there.
Yeah. It's so easy to go, oh, those are cute. Oh, those are great. Wait a minute, that's eating up my house.
Yeah, no, thank you. All right, so watch out for those as well. Anything else that?
And the last thing is look out for those big, thick, juicy ants. Those are carpenter ants. If you have any water damage on the outside of your house, those things are making a nest, and they can do it in multiple places. They can have satellite nests, everything else. So if you see those, not little tiny sugar ants, but those big ones, probably best to call in the exterminator for that one, because they could be really chewing things up and causing some serious damage. When in doubt, call the professionals in, have them come in once or twice a year, do an inspection, and deal with it, because it's going to be cheaper than the repairs.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so all good things to look at there. Then again, you can share these segments as well, so let people know about that. Now, when it comes to Around the House Northwest this week, what can we expect on there?
Oh man, we got a fun one. So we've got an interview with Tyler Peterson from Coast Products. The guys that make the knives, the flashlights.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
The fourth generation owner, basically CEO of the company. So he's the fourth generation of that family. They've been in Portland for over 100 years now. And you can get them at almost any home improvement store. So all those batteries to flashlights to knives, it's kind of the cost-effective stuff that you see. It's not the super expensive knife, but the stuff that you can go out and use and not feel bad if you lose it. Those guys, great interview there. And then I thought, let's make some furniture out of some common stuff. So I went down to my local lumber yard, picked up some 2x4s, and I show you how to make a coffee table.
Oh, cool. Yeah, but just picking up some 2x4s, huh?
Exactly. So, and you can make it as nice as you want. You can keep it rustic. You can sand them down and stain it. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. But literally, I took four 2x4s and made a nice coffee table out of it. So pretty inexpensive, especially if you're needing that temporary furniture and something that's heavier duty than that stuff you're going to put together from the import store.
Yeah, absolutely, and not too bad on the price. So those are a couple of things for this week. And I know we don't like to give everything away. So I don't know if there's anything else.
So we test out some Amazon products that we picked up offline. And of course, we'll be doing some other stuff like, again, one of my favorite ones too that we do is my pro tips there, where I show you how to do like drywall mud. We'll tackle that as well.
Awesome. Well, all that's on this week's episode of Around the House Northwest. And how is it that people can watch that?
All right. So the brand new show will air Saturday at 10 a.m. Fox 12 Plus. If you missed last week's show, don't worry. You can catch that tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And of course, we replay that at 6 o'clock on Sunday, 6 p.m. And of course, back again at 8 a.m. on Fridays again. So that's the 3 times to grab it. And of course, I think we're just at about 500 videos over there on the YouTube at the Fox 12 YouTube page.
Nice. So lots of videos to check out there. The Fox 12 YouTube page, of course, KPTV.com. So plenty of places to go to look at the old ones, but definitely want to catch the new ones. And Eric, it's always awesome having you on here. And for everybody who is just watching this too and knows somebody who needs this advice, feel free to share this episode and share those segments with other people. So certainly do that for anybody who's dealing with pests, which a lot of people are. Yeah.
That time of year, man. That time of year.
It is. All right, man. Well, thank you so much. Thanks to everybody for watching, too. And again, this is Fox 12 Now. We appreciate you joining us. And if there's ever breaking news between 1 and 4 p.m., this is also the place to go. So we'll send you out an alert and be there for you. But I think that's it for now. Eric, I'll talk to you soon. And thanks, everybody, for joining in.
Thanks, my friend.